Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally touches the hearts of so many parents, yet it's so frequently misunderstood. And that's peer bullying. If you've ever felt that awful pit in your stomach worrying about your kid's social life, think of the time we have together right now as just a conversation between close friends. We're going to look really closely at a crucial clue that we, as well-meaning adults, almost always overlook when we're just trying to protect our kids. So, I want you to picture a highly relatable scenario. Imagine your child comes home and tells you a classmate has been humiliating them in front of everybody. Naturally, you ask, well, did you say anything back? And your child admits that, yeah, they yelled or maybe they sent an incredibly angry text message insulting the other kid. Be honest for a second. Your first instinct might be this huge wave of relief. You think, okay, good, at least they can stand up for themselves. You might even think, well, it sounds like both kids are involved here. But here is a major paradigm shift. Jumping to the conclusion that both kids are equally involved, it feels fair, but it can actually be completely wrong. You see, a child can react out of deep frustration, fear, or just pure exhaustion and still be trapped in a relationship where the dynamic is completely unequal. A smaller kid can absolutely shout at a bigger kid. An isolated child can send a harsh text to the popular group leader, but a response doesn't automatically create equality.
So the absolutely crucial point is this definition right here from the CDC and stopbullying.gov. They point out that bullying isn't just about who started it on a random Tuesday or who happened to use a worse word. It's actually defined by a real or even perceived power imbalance. Power is the thing that distinguishes true bullying from just a regular disagreement between two peers who have roughly the same ability to defend themselves, leave the room, or influence what happens next.
And this is exactly where we kind of trip up. When we hear the phrase power imbalance, our brains immediately picture visible power. The big kid picking on the smaller kid. We look for age gaps, physical strength, or athletic ability. But if we're only looking for bruises or size differences, we completely miss the hidden power that's often doing the most damage today. We're talking about social status, holding a really damaging secret, or digital control. Think about it. Just being the admin of a group chat means you can instantly isolate another child. Because we miss those hidden forms of power, we tend to make a few really common parental mistakes. Parents in schools will often say things like, well, he insulted the other boy too, so this is a two-sided problem. But listen, equality is not established just by finding one harmful act from each child. If 10 kids exclude a girl every single day, and she finally snaps and posts an angry insult about the group leader, counting one insult on each side completely ignores the massive ongoing social control that group holds over her. And that leads us right into the very next mistake, which is treating fairness as equal blame. As caring adults, we love neutrality. We just want to put both kids in a room, have a peer mediation session, and have them work it out. But when there's a meaningful power imbalance, forcing them to sit down and work it out together can actually be dangerous. It implicitly tells the targeted child that they share equal responsibility for their own mistreatment. And worse, it exposes them to even more pressure and retaliation from the kid who actually holds the power. Now, have you ever asked this question? It sounds so perfectly logical to our adult brains. Just block the account. Just go sit somewhere else. But asking this can unintentionally blame the child for not escaping a trap that is actually incredibly difficult to get out of. Power is partly about having control over your options. If leaving a group chat means your child literally loses their entire peer group or has to surrender their favorite activity, the bully's power is actually strengthened. The targeted kid leaves and the bully just keeps the space. We also really need to debunk a massive myth. The idea that a confident, athletic, or popular child is somehow immune to being bullied. Power is totally relational. Visible strengths don't guarantee equal power in every single relationship a kid has. A popular teenager might be absolutely terrified that one private image is going to destroy their reputation. A strong athlete might be entirely dependent on older players just to be accepted on the team. So please don't assume your child is safe merely because they look confident from the outside. Section 1. 7 questions that reveal power. A gentle approach for parents. Instead of just asking what happened, we really need a gentle toolkit to uncover these hidden dynamics with warm curiosity. When you're trying to assess the dynamic, ask them, what usually happens when you tell them to stop? This is a great one because it reveals if the child's boundaries are being respected at all. Next, ask, are other children joining in or staying silent? This tells you exactly who controls the audience. And could you leave without losing your whole group? This gets right to the absolute heart of whether your child feels trapped by their social environment. You also want to uncover those hidden advantages we talked about. Ask, do they have a specific advantage, maybe a secret or digital access? Have you tried getting help before? Are you worried that reporting this is going to trigger retaliation? And finally, the ultimate question, who actually has the practical ability to change what happens next? Approaching it with these questions helps your child process the dynamic with you without them feeling like they have to constantly prove how helpless they are. To bring this all together, consider trying what we like to call a 1-week power map. For literally just 1 week, keep a low-pressure, super simple track of 4 things with your child: where the behavior happened, who was present, what advantage was used, and what made it better or worse. You might actually discover the problem isn't everywhere. Maybe it's totally isolated to just the bus ride or a specific unsupervised transition between classes or one particular group chat. Getting this data is absolutely golden. Section 2. A practical parent response. Taking action with schools. Now that we've mapped out the power dynamics, let's look at the concrete steps to actually protect our kids. Steps 1 and 2 are really about how you handle it at home. You want to listen for patterns and strictly avoid language that makes them feel like they have to prove they're a victim. Instead of saying, "Why do you let them control you?" try something more like, "I want to understand what makes it so hard to stop." Then, step 3. Contact the school. But here's the secret for sure: don't just march in and demand instant punishment. Bring your observable facts and your power map. Focus the entire conversation on the social dynamic and your child's immediate safety needs. Next up, step 4, ask the school for practical safeguards. Specifically request that the students be interviewed separately to completely avoid that forced, high-pressure face-to-face meeting we talked about earlier. And step 5 is incredibly vital. Preserve your child's agency. Before you call the school or confront another family, sit down and tell your child your plan. Look, sometimes adults have to step in and act, even if a kid is scared, but keeping them involved in the process really reduces that terrible feeling that everyone else is just controlling their life. Finally, work on strengthening their outside support network. As parents, I know it just breaks our hearts to see our kids in pain, and our absolute first instinct is to pull them close and say, "I promise this will never happen again." But the hard truth is, we can't promise that. Instead, you need to promise what you can actually control. Tell them this: "This deserves attention. I will document it, I will involve the right adults, I will keep checking in with you, and we will adjust the plan if it continues." Honestly, establishing that shared responsibility for safety is far more comforting to a kid than making a giant promise you might not be able to keep. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, really powerful reframing thought. The loudest shout or the harshest word doesn't always tell you who actually holds the power. When we finally understand these hidden dynamics, we can stop asking who started it and start asking the question that will actually keep our kids safe: who has the power to make it stop? Thank you so much for learning with me today. Take this knowledge, share it, and go empower your family.